All right, thank you. So, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and participants, all right, we are going to move to the next presenter or to the next invited speaker for today. From International Islamic University, Malaysia, I would like to invite Associate Prof. Dr. Mastura BadzisD with a topic of a presentation, Quality Education in the 21st Century is Character Building a Matter of Concern. To you, Prof. Prof. Mastura, are you around? Okay, while waiting for Prof. Mastura, I'm sure there's some technical glitches. All right, just to remind all the participants and viewers, don't forget to visit our Facebook, University College of Sampang, and also our IG for our updates and also photographs the conference. Well, I can see you now, Prof. Mastura. Thank you so much. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you.
All right, that's great. So welcome to the Second International Conference on Education 2022. So today you are going to present a sharing on quality education in the 21st century. Is character building a matter of concern? All right, passing to you, Prof.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. We can see on screen now.
Yeah, can you hear me clearly?
Yes, very clear.
Sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. I got a bit a problem at line because I'm from Bandung actually. Okay, I'm in Bandung. Yeah, that's right. So that's the thing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank everyone, particularly University College Yaya Sampahang, for inviting me as one of the panelists, one of the speakers for this conference, international conference. Okay, and then actually it's something that I think I should appreciate because I was given a topic which is, of my interest related to the theme given by the committee. All right. So I would like to bring today, the topic that I would like to highlight is about quality education in the 21st century. Is character building the matter of concern? So talking about this quality education, I would like to start first that education is an important tool in life. As through education, we can generate a paradigm shift in each individual, produce dynamic, productive people in all aspects of life. And then, indeed, education, as far as our concern, is the key in developing character, building social and life skills, and as well as decorating one's career. And education defines everything that is required to lead a life. Besides, it is undeniable that education plays a central role in any country's pursuit of economic growth and national development. This is what education is all about. So talking about education in the 21st century, sociologists name it as post-industrial society, particularly after COVID-19, and then in the 21st century, they call it as post-industrial society. What is this post-industrial society? The life is based on information, knowledge, and the selling of services due to technical revolution. And this is where we call Revolusi 2.0. Right, we talk about that. And the society, actually, in this post-industrial society, the society is being shaped by the human mind and aided by computer technology. Why I say it as human mind? Because everyone can share anything, and in many situations, sometimes certain decisions, certain important decision is made due to the public opinion, due to the spreading information through internet, through social media and things like that. And although factories will always exist, the key to wealth and power seems to lie in the ability to generate, store, manipulate, and sell information. So that's the reality about post-industrial society. And then among the characteristics of this post-industrial society is that number one, is affected by the technologies at first hand. Number two, users of advanced technologies, satellites, microchips, and people want their own freedom by working hard. And at the same time, it increased levels of education and training, consumerism, availability of goods, and social mobility. So these are among the characteristics of post-industrial society. How about our kids? How about our children in this world, in this era? Number one, social environment is very complicated for them because they learn a lot of things through virtual, through social media, and then they don't really have, not all of them have opportunity to have direct contact with the natural environment, for example, or hands-on experience, because everything they learn it virtually. And so many things they need to know. It's not only about life per se, practical daily life skills, for example, or things that surrounding them, but because the world of virtual world is unlimited, so many things they need to know. Not only about the things, about understandings of the world, understanding about the world surrounding them, as well as the things that might have effect on their life. And for whatever reason, children, they must be able to function successfully in society. For example, I give you here a very simple example. Children need to learn to interact effectively. Not only children, even adults. They should know a variety of script. Okay, scammer, for example, the script of scammer. Okay, and then what physical actions interpreted as friendly. Okay, because so many things, so many hypocrisy things in the social world. And what is polite, what is impolite. And then, in other words, many things children are learning it not through human, but also through robot, particularly if they are not guided properly. So these are things something that worries us. And then in this post-industrial society, there are some challenges faced by our kids. What are the challenges? For example, like, of course, the vulnerability. Okay, they are vulnerable to many things. And then issues related to what some psychologists talk about this nature deficit disorder. What is meant by nature deficit disorder? Because children at this age, they are not really having direct contact to the natural environment because everything is virtual. For example, if they want to learn about tree, they might know about tree through websites, but they don't really go and touch the tree. So the 5 senses are not really activated. Because children learn properly, 80% of their learning should be through observation. This is based on Harvard research, results from Harvard University research indicated that 80% of the learning occur through observation. Unfortunately, in many situations, the things that the children observe are only virtual. So, and we have 5 senses. Okay, visualize, touch, smell. All these 5 senses are not really function very well when children not really get things through direct, hands-on experience. And other issues, recently, in this decade, in particular in the 21st century, even before, issues related to parental mental health, working parents, women in labor force, and then immigrant people, children who take care of the children. And another thing is that play deprivation, in which when we talk about play deprivation, when we look from the psychological perspective, children who are lack opportunity, children who are given, a very lack opportunity to play, then actually it will lead into another problem related to the mental health issues. Another thing is that the dysfunctional child rearing environment, okay, impact parenting, parents' education, issues related to neglect and inconsistent care, emotional abuse, physical abuse, and many things faced by children, particularly in this post-industrial society. So these are some examples of vulnerability: the cyber threats, cyberbullying, cyber grooming, identity theft, pornography, aggressiveness, so many things related to that. And another challenges faced by children, our children nowadays in education, this is based on empirical evidence. Children are not happy going to school. So why? What's wrong? What happened? Why they are not happy going to school? Why there are a lot of cases of absenteeism, play truant? Number one, people nowadays, this is based on research. People nowadays identify children by their grade in school. And then learning is taught as work, which children must be forced to do in special workplaces, schools modeled after factories. Okay, many schools produce A's, so many A's, but not really in terms of ability to solve problems and other crucial skills that we need to proceed further in life. Then at the same time, we are having problem of in which less attention was given to students' well-being, especially to such a frivolous component as happiness. And as a matter of fact, this is undeniable, the increased emphasis on measuring school success primarily through academic achievement, as if students who are not able to achieve well in their exam, for example, as if they are not well treated, as if only those so-called smart, then they will be given attention. At the same time, many educators do not have much time to bring up issues around students' happiness, as everybody is rushed to meet standards and raise test scores. Luckily, in terms of assessment, in Malaysia, we don't have any more UPSR, PT3 and things like that, which means that it's more focused on we can do in terms of authentic assessment. However, how to do that is still blurred. Parents are not well aware of what are the assessments that can replace the examination. We are still seeking for that. And many have forgotten that children are designed by nature to learn through self-directed play and exploration. And the forced nature of schooling, in which students are evaluated for their learning and are compared with other students, turns learning into work and become a source of anxiety. This is really very sad to say this. And pursuit of knowledge is not anymore the source of happiness and feeling of enjoyment. And this is something that really worrying us. And evidence from various research reveal that sociologists, educationists, sociologists believe society will become more concerned with the welfare of all members of society. And then in this post-industrial society, it should be less characterized by social conflict, and everyone must work together. For whatever reason, everyone must work together to solve society's problems through science. And producing, in the matter of fact, producing students with good grades is not enough for helping them lead a fruitful life. We can see that how many students scoring straight A's, but at the end, they just stay at home, not doing nothing. How many students embark further in their studies, specialize in something, but then they are not really benefit others. And that's why here more focus need to be given on preparing students with moral, ethics, soft skills, than, in other words, the character building. Okay, talking about character building and quality education, referring to the United Nations and in its sustainable goals, the United Nations has identified quality education as a major goal to ensure the transformation of the world by 2030. So what is this transformation? Inclusivity and equitability are the foundation to be upheld in quality education and not a greater literacy rate. This is what they call as revolutionary approach to understanding education and making it the means of changing the world. And I quote the words by Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General of the United Nations, in which he said, education must fully assume its central role in helping people to forge more just, peaceful, and tolerant societies. In other words, educated people by right means that they are able to contribute to the society. They are not educated for themselves, but the outcomes of the education is to be someone who are able to benefit others, who are able to help others. Then, talking about the dimensions of quality education, referring to the United Nations, they have 6 dimensions of quality educations. And these are among the top countries with the best quality education systems that maintain these dimensions of quality educations. And among these countries are Finland, Japan, Canada, Germany, Australia, United States, United Kingdom, as well as Denmark. So these are among the top countries acknowledged by United Nations that has best quality education systems. And recently, I was given an opportunity actually, when I was invited as a visiting professor at the University of Tokyo for about 2 months. Then I just want to take this opportunity here to share with everyone how we can learn from evidence-based practices. I was there for 2 months, from May until early July. I mean, I just came back. So perhaps there's something that we can learn from their practices, to the extent that now they are acknowledged by United Nations as having a quality education system. First of all, in Japan, education is the most important aspect of Japan's identity and a source of pride for Japanese citizens. Meaning to say that even though you are not specialized in education, or maybe your background in terms of your degree, for example, not in education, but everyone say that I am an educationist. Why? Because I'm developing nation. I'm developing a child. So everyone is so concerned. Then educations become Japanese identity. They feel proud to declare that I am an educationist, regardless of whoever you are. And then, for example, like in PISA 2015, Japan ranked 2nd in science and 5th in math among 72 participating countries and regions. And if we refer to the OECD report, Japan ranked highly among wealthy nations in providing equal opportunities to students who also see economic status background. And what happened was, what is the secret? What was the secret? Japanese schools are constructed as committee based on whole child education, and the development of the whole child, or what we call as character building, is seen to provide a necessary basis for scholastic achievement. And yet, besides that, moral and personality education is not taught through special subject, but is applied in everyday life, starting from very young age, starting from babies actually. So talking about the dimensions of quality education, I want to give you some example. Okay, the 6 dimensions of quality education. How and what Japan? How can we learn from them? Number 1, in terms of equity. Okay, among the things that they are doing to ensuring equity, equality of opportunity, respecting diversity, no child left behind. For example, like education of immigrant children. Even though, for example, like we are there as a visitors, if we bring with us children, there will be municipal education municipality that will take care of you. That will and yet, for example, like if in a school that they found that there is a child with special need, when we refer the child, when the teachers able to identify the child or parents identify that the children is under the category of special needs, then when they report to the municipality of education, they will send someone who is specialized to take care of this child. So that, and then early detection, very early, even from when the child is still in TASCA, still in childcare centers. And then the child are learning in mainstream, attached with someone who is specialized to help the child. And then the child is the same with other kids in the classroom. The same thing, they are so concerned about immigrant children. Even they have many courses, a lot of courses offered in university talking about the education of immigrant children, education of refugee children. They really talk about right of education, no child left behind, regardless of who you are. And then sustainability, how they sustain. For example, the equal distribution of provision for government sectors and private institutions. Okay, what I mean by equal distribution here, I give you an example. Okay, let's say in Japan, when they have childcare center, so it's a combination between the childcare center and kindergarten under one roof. Okay, and then when any parents can send their kids to the school. So parents who are from the low socioeconomic status, okay, depends on their income, okay, per household, then they might send the children to that school, to that center for free. And parents who are from, let's say, from T20 group, then they will send their they will be able also to send their kids to the same school, but you know they have to pay fees, and the fees will be deducted from the tax, meaning to say that when we pay our tax, we know where it goes. So this is an example of sustainability. So they try to bridge the gap of socioeconomic status. And there is also sustainable guideline. I name it as sustainable guidelines. For example, because they have the guidelines. Okay, if you want to establish a school, primary school, secondary school, childcare center, kindergarten, whatever, there are certain guidelines. You have to follow these guidelines. Either you are in deprived area, suburban, rural area, urban area, in the city, you have to follow these guidelines. Otherwise, you are not allowed to establish a school. So things like that. And this is sustained. I mean, if you go to a school in very deprived area, for example, like near to Mount Fuji, you know the environment, the facilities, everything the same as if the school is in the middle of city, in the middle of the town. So the guidelines must be followed by all, so that everyone so due to this equal distribution, so everyone were able to have this. I mean, the quality for all, not regardless of the socioeconomic status, regardless of the place. Okay, and then another thing is that in terms of the contextualization and relevance, they emphasize a lot on food education. They have nutritionists in every school. In every school in Japan, they have nutritionists, and the nutritionists will plan the food that the children that they have to eat every day. I mean, they will have something like lesson plan, yearly lesson plan, something like that. And then every day before the children eat during the during the break, then they will be informed about what are they going to eat on that day, what are the benefits, what are the ingredients, what are the content, and then the nutritionist there, for example, like you can see here in the picture, they have because any school, usually in many schools, they have nutritionist and also chef. Okay, cook will cook here, and then the nutritionist will supervise and ensure that the children will eat nutritious food. Okay, and then another thing is that, okay, this is an example of a picture here. Here is the picture of nurse clinic. I mean, there is a clinic in any school. They have clinic. I mean, they have clinic and they have nurses who are working in this clinic, taking care of the students. And then beside that, they have counseling, some sort like the counseling room. And this counseling, but the counseling room, actually, those who are taking care of the student is a clinical psychologist. So if the student having a problem, then they might go having a problem. I mean, in terms of physical health or mental health, when they go to meet the nurses, if they are tired, if they are sick, then they can go and just take a rest. They provide space, place where the students can take a rest. Either primary school, secondary school, the same, And then if the nurses, one of the nurses, because usually in one school they have 3 nurses or 2 nurses, depends. Okay, if they found that it's something to do with their mental health, then they will refer the child to the clinical psychologist. Okay, still in the same school, and then and there will be sessions after sessions to help the student. And beside that, okay, government make sure that every school, either it is primary school or secondary school, they must have what they call as after school club activity. And the government will pay workers to take care of the children until the parents come and fetch them. Another thing is the balanced approach, the cognitive and non-cognitive skills. During the session for academic learning, you see, for example, then, okay, there is time where they maintain the tradition, tea ceremony, for example, and then designing flowers has become part of the curriculum. It's not curriculum, I mean the cognitive things, and then there is intertwine between the non-cognitive skills and the cognitive skill. At the same time, school there in Japan become as a center for education research, meaning to say that if we do research in universities, then particularly if regardless of whatever research, I mean nutrition education, for example, or any research related to education, or even other aspects that related to education, then usually then we will involve teachers and schools to be samples and also will benefit from the results of the research. Meaning to say that they are not really concerned about publishing papers and then put on shelves, nobody will read that. No, they will disseminate the information to the schools, and then teachers and even the school become partners in the research. And then professors in university, let's say you are specialized in music, you may go to school at any time and then play music with kids, And then if you are specialized in certain area, you may go to school. So the school become a center for education research for the whole Japan. It's not only one school as pilot project, no. It's a policy.
Yeah.
And then another thing is something that really attract my attention is in terms of to ensure continuation process. For example, okay, from kindergarten going to primary school, then there will be a meeting between the preschool teachers and the primary school teachers. And then the primary school, the primary one teacher will go to kindergarten and to observe how children learn. And then the preschool teachers will go to primary school and see what the children are needed, what are the preparation are needed. They're really concerned about children's readiness. And not only the schools are cooperate, even people from the education department under the Ministry of Education, they will come down, see what is going on, and they try to arrange meetings between teachers, either, for example, like preschool teachers and the primary school teachers, or the primary school teachers and the secondary school teachers. When the children are, when the kids are going to be secondary school kids. I mean, for example, like if you are in year 6, then they will have meeting for that.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is it possible to wrap up in 2 minutes time?
Yeah, right.
I adore your passion, but time is our
I understand. Thank you very much. Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the last actually. All right. How they fulfill the dimensions of good quality, child-friendly teaching and learning environment. And in many situations, they look from children's perspective. And for the learning outcomes, they really look into the process of learning rather than the outcomes of learning. And the creativity come throughout the process of teaching and learning. And I'd like to end the sessions with a reflection. What and how children learn are matters. And I borrow the word of Nelson Mandela. Education is the most powerful weapon which can be used to change the world. And if you refer to Ibn Khaldun, one of prominent Muslim scholars, he said that building a commendable character or great personality is one of the most important aspects in developing a nation's civilizations. Indeed, there is no better predictor of a nation's future than what is currently happening in this classroom. Thank you very much. And then, okay, if you have any questions, you are welcome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Associate Prof. Dr. Mastura BadzisD, for the sharing on the quality education in the 21st century. Is character building a matter of concern? Well, it's so true that due to the cyber threats, what's happening now, we can see from the evolution of due to evolution of technology, and also whatever the things that are happening around us, for example, the COVID-19 pandemic and whatnot. Well, it changes lots of things, all right, and it affects our children, okay, and not only that, the community around us. So I suppose that it requires cooperation from the whole team, right? Not only the parents, the facilitators or the educators. It involves the policymakers as well. What more the community? I mean, we need to work hand in hand, all right, like what you have shared just now, a very good example, quality education in Japan. All right, so Prof, I think there's a question in the chat box. Yeah, let's have a look. All right. Is there a question there? All right, but I received this one question. As from your experience as an educator or facilitator, I mean, we also refer teachers as facilitators, right? To facilitate the kids. How to face the students who have negative attitudes, I mean, being absent, that tell lies and whatnot. I mean, what would you say in terms of that negative attitudes, and how can we do as the educator to facilitate the kids?
Okay, talking about that, there is a theory, we call it self-fulfilling prophecy theory. Okay, anything that you look at it, if you look at it positive, then it will be positive. If you look at it negative, then it will be negative. So if you think that the student is bad, then they are bad. If you think that the student has potential that you can help to grow them, to enhance them, then they will be good. Another thing is that, okay, talking about this issue, something that we need to bear in mind is that children are influenced by their environment. So in order for us to solve the problem is for us to find out the root of the problems. Why they behave like that? Why they become like that? Because every child is born with fitra, meaning to say that, you know, when we understand the term fitra, there is no child is born with sin. So meaning to say that there must be something why they behave like that. Then we need to identify what are the problems that lead into these problems. So when we know the root of the problem and we try to solve that problem, then slowly, inshallah, the students will change. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that's a very good way of looking at issues, yeah, at problems. Are there more questions in the chat box? Yeah, from Aisha Adrian. As an educator, how to build a positive character among the children?
I think it's very simple. It's through role model, because children learn from environment. Then role model is very crucial. The problems that we are having nowadays is because the children, the absence of role model. They don't know where to refer to. And sometimes when we talk to them about something, when we talk about character building, it's something to do with the morality, you see, and then values. And sometimes when we talk to the students about values, about morality, we forget that the terms that we are using are very abstract, that they might not understand. So make sure that you are talking to them appropriate to their level of understanding. And then the role model. Thank you.
Great, thank you so much, Associate Prof. Dr. Mastura BadzisD from International Islamic University, Malaysia. And I think that's about time that we have for this session.